Welcome back to Delayed Response, the only channel where we find some of the best conspiracy TikToks out there. If you're new here, welcome. If you like the video, please make sure you drop a like and subscribe. Without further ado, let's just get straight into it.
This beach is not a beach, it's actually a glacier. There was a drop-off that went down between 5 and 6 meters, so not too deep. And at the bottom, there was black sand. Down at the bottom, it felt like I was floating in the stars, in the sparkles. It was totally crazy. Totally crazy. It's incredible. That's good. It's like beautifully sculpted marble. The ice is so pure. It's extraordinary. But after about 200 meters, shapes start appearing on the screen. And what I'm seeing, about 20 meters below, is a geological interface that's very strong, very clear. This beach is not a beach, it's actually a glacier. There's a significant amount of ice that's trapped in the valley and no longer moving.
It has been known that we could do this. The physics have been known. And now we're at a place where it's been demonstrated. The X-37, the Air Force space plane that used to be secret, that's not secret anymore. It's been doing experiments showing what I'm going to describe right now. And what you do is that the intensity of that sun's power, you build a solar array that can absorb that sun's power, and then you translate it into a radio wave. And then you beam that radio wave down to Earth, and it's received by called a rectenna, and then you turn it back into electricity, and you're done. I mean, it's that simple. But because it's a radio wave, it is not diminished by the weather. Okay, so or the atmosphere or the gravitational field or any of the things that can sometimes prevent energy from getting to the Earth. So solar, and this is the other piece of it. The demonstrations that we see are at efficiency levels that we are not used to right now.
In the years following open contact on your planet, after the first contact specialists, such as myself, have done their job, so to speak, others from our society and other societies will also be of assistance in the process of allowing you to acclimate to the idea of interacting as a society with extraterrestrial beings. Next will come what we term the social engineers. When this channel began to bring our society through, our energy through, even though I made the initial connection due to our agreement from Spirit, one of the first beings that the channel brought through was a female from my society that was termed Anima, for those who will remember. Anima is a colleague of mine, and she is a social engineer. So she will come among you with others of her kind to help you understand the idea of social engineering, which basically translates to the concept of planetary management, since you will now begin to understand your world, your entire world, as your home, and begin to understand with new technologies how to manage things on a global scale for the benefit of humanity. So planetary management will be the domain of the social engineers from our society and others who will come to aid and assist you in understanding how to transform easily, beneficially, your society, sociologically, politically, economically, so on and so forth. To distribute the idea of sustenance in a more efficient way, to experience the idea of the distribution of free energy in a more efficient way, to experience the idea of yourselves truly as global citizens, eventually retaining the idea of your cultural differences and validating and cherishing them, but erasing the idea of any political borders that you have drawn out on your planet in the years to come, in the decades ahead, so that you may travel freely around your world, so that you may understand the entire world as your home, to gain global consciousness. And that is the next step in humanity progressing towards becoming Homo galacticus. Because as you spread out among the stars eventually, you will look back to Earth and cherish Earth and preserve Earth as your true home, so that you have that basis, you have that anchor point, so that you know that it is always there for you for quite a while, for millennia to come, until such time as it is no longer necessary for the evolution of your species, and as we said, you turn it over to other species to take advantage of the cycles of Earth for their own exploration, for their own life path, for their own soul's journey. And so it will be a progression of expansion, a progression of connection, a progression of awareness, more and more introductions of all the different ways that different species within the galaxy have of expressing themselves, from things that you might consider relatively ordinary but different, to those you would consider to be extremely exotic and almost unimaginable. We have mentioned a few of these species over time, and you will be given the opportunity to understand how many more species there are, even just in your own.
When they first found petroleum, because they were beginning to make motors and needed on axles of wheels on railroad trains and all that sort of thing, and remember trains started in the beginning of the 19th century, then oil went from just a lubricant to a fuel, and it made it valuable. And Rockefeller happened to be the smartest man in the business at the time, but he made most of his money, or much of it, off the transport of the petroleum as well as selling it. But one thing they realized was, because oil is putting a price on oil is like putting a price on a pail of water. You know, no initial cost. It's in the ground, and in those days they were, some of it almost what you'd call surface mining the oil. They didn't go down deep. So in order to get the price up, they hit on the idea that they would have to make it appear to be scarce. That after we take the next few barrels out, we're probably going to have to close as well, you know, that kind of thing. Well, a very fortuitous event. In 1892, there was a convention in Geneva of scientists to determine what organic substances are. Well, the definition of organic is a substance with hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. And so it's usually a living substance, a tree. You analyze a dead tree, hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen, and grass, and so on, living things. Animals, we are hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. So at this Geneva Convention, Rockefeller took advantage of sending some scientists over who said, oil, petroleum, is hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. Therefore, it must be derived from the spoiling, the rotting of formerly living matter. And playing the game properly, when the this scientific convention was over, they defined oil as the residue from formerly living matter. Well, that makes it a fossil fuel. I don't know why they decided to use the word fossil, but it says formerly living matter, it's fossil. Well, of course, today, and another thing we should know is that there has never been a fossil, a real fossil found below 16,000 feet. And you can't argue at 16,000 as a level line because someplace the ground sinks and so on, but 16 is what the scientists say, 16,000. We mine oil, or we drill for oil at 30,000, 33,000, 28,000 every day of the week. So right there, we rule it out that it isn't fossil fuel. It's called fossil fuel for the minds of the public to feel that it is an asset that is running out, being depleted. We talk about depletion allowance, which is a lot of, you know, and actually, if you know the world's oil supply, you know that it is not going to run out for an awfully long time. It is the second most prevalent liquid.
After the Titanic went down, they offered claims.
It never sunk.
Yes, it did. It's gone. It sank right to the bottom of the ocean.
That's the first I knew of it. I thought the other thing was I only thought she sprang a leak.
Well, she had a 300-foot gash in her. She had a pretty good leak.
Is that so? Did she really sink?
She sank. As far as we know, she sank.
That's the first I knew of that.
Theory goes that Netflix, this is a dark theory though. If you pay attention and try to look for an agenda or kind of a mission they're trying to push with Netflix content, you might be able to find it. Why? Because the founder of Netflix created it so that they can control all of the content on one platform and push a mission, push an agenda, push an idea, push beliefs on one place, and have control of all of the content, what they're talking about, where the ideas are coming into, and literally control so many different age groups, from kids to adults to teens, literally everybody, elderly.
Yeah, whatever you put on Netflix, people are watching, regardless. That's fucked though. Yeah, because if you really bag it, like, Americans took it way farther because it's not just eggs and bacon.
Yeah.
It's sausage, what else? Ham. You have your, the round thing. What is that? Salami or...
It's like bologna or whatever.
Bologna, like, it's actually so unhealthy, but it's good. Like,
it just became culture now. It became culture.
I love breakfast though. That's low-key like Filipino breakfast, American breakfast. Blessed. Like, I'm not mad that they did that.
I'm not mad either, but it's just fucked how, like, yo, it's... You know how the theory goes, Tupac died, but he's actually alive.
Yeah, he's like in Barbados or some shit like that.
You know the last picture of Tupac in the car with Suge Knight?
Yeah.
There's no keys in the ignition. What? In the picture. The last picture of Tupac, man. There's no keys in the ignition.
What does that mean though? Like,
that means it was staged. So not only was there no keys in the ignition, they asked all of the people. Like, they looked for bystanders everywhere. Nobody heard gunshots.
Oh, fuck.
Just look at the pic, fam. Look closely. It's an empty key. Like, there's nothing. Yo, there's nothing. What the fuck?
Yeah, nah.
Like, it's not even, it's literally empty. This is not no push to start, fam. This is
I was gonna say, is it a...
No.
There's no way.
This is way back. And this car, you wouldn't have a push to start.
we're a pest species that's grown like a mold around the planet because our natural predator has been absent for a few 100,000 years.
Wow.
10 times more intelligent than a human. It only needs a certain enzyme that humans have in their blood. And what it does is it basically goes into hibernation like a vampire. It lets the human population build up. And then when it comes out of hibernation, over a few generations, its existence may have been turned into myth or something. And then it hunts the population down again, right?
Now, why is the South Pole important? Why do we go down there? It is because the bottom of the world is an untouched reservoir of natural resources. Strangely enough, there is left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
That's a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Right up to the ice barrier of the Ross Sea shelf, behind which lay the Bay of Whales and Little America. The only entrance was through a miraculous canyon in the ice barrier. Narrow gaps no more than 400 yards wide and slowly closing every day. Through this, the ships disappeared, one by one, creeping between giant jaws of ice that loomed threateningly off either bow. A harmless threat, though, for all emerged without mishap into the Bay of Whales. Ahead was a landfall of solid ice and Little America.
Allí? No, but this is not the wall.
Bro, that's the wall.
It's there. Look at that. The wall, right? There. Woohoo!
That's the wall right there. Finally, we're here. Wow. Qué loca esta.
But it's quite high, yeah?
Yeah. It's way bigger than I thought.
Quite high.
Quite high. So, like today, we just look and try and find the waterfall. So we try and find a way to access ice safely.
Imagine this happens when we're there.
We just saw a big piece of ice fall down and it created this huge wave. And you start thinking, what if it's us down there? When we go out, we'll be sometime down there, so oh, scary. That was a big piece. We really need to take a look from close with the small boats. I'm sure we'll find nice waterfalls. Wow. Yeah. Man, see how the water has made its way.
It's fall any time, huh?
Yeah, I hope it will come down eventually.
That's pretty, but
it's scary,
yeah,
huh?
that's good. We're looking for lots of water. High rated at the bottom, and that provides us soft landings. There's lots of waterfalls. It's just hard to find them with enough water.
Hay más chorrito. No, es muy poquito.
Yeah, small and sketchy. There's about 160 k's of cliff, so we'll keep looking. I'm sure we'll find something good. Oh my god! Oh. This is perfect.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I really think we might just have found the most beautiful waterfall I've ever seen. And now the main thing is just getting up there. We found this other place where the ice wall is way lower. It's a good access point, way easier than up there where the waterfalls are. The ice wall is much larger here, probably about 20 meters, so we can't get any closer. And we are going to have to walk almost 10 k's across the ice. Our guides have come up with a pretty smart plan to get up to the ice, but now we need to check with our Captain Benny and see if he's okay with that. Fingers crossed.
Was it this waterfall you were thinking about?
No, the one on the bow, if possible.
Yeah, we will make it somehow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you happy if we go, Benny?
Yeah. Snow road is without sticks.
All right, so now the plan is to get a ladder up to the ice. Philip will get up the ladder, set up a rope, and from there he'll be able to pull us up. So it's dangerous to be under the ice, so we gotta do it quick and get out of there as fast as possible. From what we have scouted on the drones, it doesn't look like it will be easy. So we will need to be prepared for river crossings, crevasses, and much more. On top of our usual kayaking gear, we have a lot of specialist equipment for this task. Ice climbing equipment, supplies, GPS radios, polar bear protection, and a ladder.
Go light, they said. Didn't happen. What is the distance now over to the ice?
10 meters closing. So distance 5 meters closing. Distance 3 meters closing. Captain, hit the rubbers touching in the forward.
But are you happy if we go now?
Then if you are happy with that, we can try.
Looks good, Billy. Now it's good now. They will play now.
And then when he's up, we take the ladder away. Okay. We back out.
It's an outlier, and so we learn from those extremes, right? It's different than anything else we know.
A drone flight over the ice wall of Antarctica has left everyone in shock, capturing something so unexpected it's got the whole world talking. But this is just one example of how drone footage has been finding crazy sights all over the world. From bike graveyards to crazy natural phenomenons, here are the times unexpected things were discovered on drone footage. 1. Melting glaciers. Glaciers are incredible, massive ice formations that play a big role in the health of our planet. They're like nature's climate gauges, showing us how the Earth is changing. But here's the bad news. They're melting faster than ever. And the main reason? Global temperatures are rising, mostly because of human activities like burning fossil fuels, cutting down forests, and releasing too many greenhouse gases. This warming has sped up over the last few decades, making glaciers melt quicker than they can rebuild with new snowfall. The melting process is fueled by heat from both the air above and the water below. Warmer air temperatures melt the surface of glaciers, while warmer ocean waters sneak in underneath and chip away at them from below. This two-pronged attack makes the melting happen even faster. On top of that, during warmer months, pools of water form on the glacier's surface. These pools can drill through the ice and flow to the glacier's base, where they create underwater streams. These streams mix with the warmer ocean water and speed up the melting even more. Then there's calving, which sounds like a peaceful word, but is actually dramatic. It happens when chunks of ice break off from the edge of a glacier and crash into the ocean as icebergs. This process is made worse by the melting happening on the glacier's surface and the warmer ocean currents working away at its foundation. The impacts of all this melting are huge. For one, sea levels are rising, which is bad news for coastal areas. If all the ice in Greenland alone melted, sea levels could rise by about 25 feet, flooding cities and displacing millions of people. But it's not just about rising seas. Melting glaciers also disrupt ecosystems. For example, in places like the Himalayas, millions of people rely on glacier-fed rivers for drinking water, farming, and energy. When the glaciers shrink or melt too quickly, it throws off the balance, causing water shortages or floods. And the more glaciers melt, the faster they melt. That's because glaciers are great at reflecting sunlight because of their bright, icy surfaces. But as they shrink, they expose darker land or water underneath, which absorbs more heat instead of reflecting it. This extra heat speeds up the melting, creating a vicious cycle. Looking ahead, scientists warn that if we don't take action to slow climate change, we could lose many of the world's glaciers by the end of this century. For instance, glaciers in the eastern Himalayas could shrink by up to 60% even if we stick to low-emission targets. In Antarctica, massive glaciers like Thwaites and Pine Island are already retreating at alarming rates, and their continued melting could lead to even more dramatic sea level rises. Want to find out more about drone footages? Like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. We've got a lot more where that came from. 2. Pripyat in snow. The Chernobyl disaster, which happened on April 26, 1986, at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine, stands as one of the most chilling events in history. It's remembered as the worst nuclear accident ever. The disaster began during a late-night safety test on reactor number 4. The idea was to simulate a power outage, but things went terribly wrong. A mix of flawed reactor design and mistakes by the operators caused a massive power surge. This surge led to a devastating explosion around 1:23 a.m. that blew apart the reactor core. It wasn't just an explosion, it was a release of invisible, deadly radiation into the atmosphere. The immediate aftermath was heartbreaking. 2 workers lost their lives instantly in the explosion, and within weeks, 28 brave emergency responders died from acute radiation sickness. These were firefighters, plant workers, and others who rushed in without knowing the true extent of the danger. Over the years, countless others have suffered from illnesses tied to the radiation, with thousands of cases of thyroid cancer and other diseases being linked to the fallout. It's still hard to pin down exactly how many lives this disaster has affected, but estimates suggest that thousands more could eventually lose their lives to cancer, caused by exposure to the radioactive materials released that day. The human impact didn't stop there. About 49,000 people living in the nearby city of Pripyat were told to leave, but not until 36 hours after the explosion. Imagine being told to pack up and leave your home, not knowing if you'd ever come back. Ultimately, over 115,000 people were evacuated from the surrounding areas in Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia. Even today, a 30-kilometer exclusion zone surrounds the plant. The environmental damage was massive. Between 50 and 185 million curies of radioactive materials were released into the air. These radioactive particles spread across Europe, with fallout detected as far away as France and Italy. People in these countries were scared and unsure of what the long-term effects might be. The contamination of the land, water, and air meant that vast areas became uninhabitable. Forests and fields turned into radioactive wastelands, and many of them remain dangerous even decades later.